Hey, welcome back to another Loop Station tutorial. Well, today is going to be a unique tutorial because you all wrote the script for me. Thanks. I've gotten a lot of questions on pretty much every video I've posted, so I wanted to take a video to actually answer and respond to the comments because y'all asked some really good comments. Shimmer asks, "Bro, the looks of your MK1 is sick. May I ask where I can get a sticker like that for the MK2? Yeah, I made that sticker myself. At the end of this Q&A, I will show you how I made my custom loop station. By the way, I love the Ibuki Miyota. Yeah, me too. For the uninitiated, this is a character. She is known as the ultimate musician. There's the reference. Okay, moving on. Alkis asks, how do you change the knob colors? I made that myself. So I think what they're referring to is when they say toy painted, there's like different types of paints. I personally used spray paint. I like to use enamel spray paint on things because it gives a nice smooth coat, and I don't own an HPLV gun. I like the smooth consistency that spray paint gives you. I took them off my loop station. I just placed them down on a paper towel because with the masking, I just didn't need it. I didn't want it to get it underneath. And then I just used a few coats of spray paint to actually get it. One thing to keep in mind with the spray paint technique, though, is spray paint comes out with force. So if you have, like, say, the knobs, like the fader volumes and the knobs too, they will be knocked over if you spray them too closely or too much. So what I would recommend doing for the faders, what I did was I laid down some masking tape upside down and stuck them to the masking tape so that way they wouldn't blow over when I go to paint them. I also marked them on the inside of the fader and the knobs with a silver marker, so just in case I wouldn't be able to see them, I marked them anyways. And I just used acrylic paint. I masked it off first, like you're seeing in this video, and I painted them that way. This B-roll footage that you're watching, by the way, is from me touching them up. This is not me doing the process, but I thought this would be useful to see anyways. AVH says, that's a cool custom loop station. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, a lot of people have commented on my custom loop station. Maybe I'll make you one. Mr. Pump My Bass asks, great tutorial, but one big but. Your talking voice is perfect. Oh, well, thank you. But when you switch to tracks and the sound explodes while using headset or even speakers, I need to adjust the volume all the time. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you for that criticism. I honestly needed to hear that. That comment was left on one of the first 5 tutorials that I made. I was just kind of experimenting and just making the video, putting it up, and seeing how I liked the project, seeing if I found it useful, because that's kind of the point of me making these, is for it to be useful. And another point is because I wanted to have fun making them. I had fun. A lot of people liked it, and I got a lot of good feedback. This comment told me about a volume issue that I had. The reason for that is I just didn't proofread. I didn't proofread the first 5 tutorials I made. So lesson here is proofread your videos before you send them out. You can catch a lot of errors that way. And I also more consciously think about people watching this on other devices, like a computer screen or a phone. And I'm just thinking about how I can make it more accessible for those people, as well as just accessibility in general. Mace says, okay, your loop looks hella cool. Hell yeah. You and AVH also think the same thing. Dope. Yeah, man. I'll have to make you a custom MK2 design as well. This user asks, please give me the granular delay numbers for move with A and also vocal distortion and chorus settings. Yeah, I actually got permission to do so, and I put that in this tutorial right here. PK Delicious asks, very helpful video. Thank you. By the way, I want to know what the effects used at this melody. Just throw it into the incinerator. Incinerate. Yeah, so that's recorded silently at the very beginning, and I will say that Biscuit is putting out his own tutorial. So instead of me teaching you how that works, check out his tutorial on his membership program. Lucas asks, what effects did you use for the bass at here. Oh yeah, it's about to get serious. So we used a synth, some vocal distortion, an EQ, and a reverb at 50 with a E level of 50. Ben Beat says, all these loop station effects breakdown tutorials are greatly thought and done. I'm sure a lot of loopers around the world find them helpful. Yo, thanks Ben Beat. If you don't know who Ben Beat is, you should, especially if you're watching loop station tutorials. Ben Beat is a wonderful and talented musician, like a lot of these other musicians that have been commenting. So definitely check out their tutorials as well, and watch their performance at the Worlds last year. It was really dope. Moscow also asked the question, how do I make this sick bass line?
Playgue about to get big. I'm sitting these bars and hitting these bitch and rap so quickly because that's the only gimmick, but that shit is easy, bitch. RC, rapping scene, I don't care, talking shit, I ain't scared, I'm the shit. You're sick, why aren't you in Japan?
That is the bass line in Biscuit's track Au revoir, and Biscuit is coming out with a tutorial, or has already come out with a tutorial for how to do Au revoir, and you can check that out on his members program. I swear, I'm not sponsored by Biscuit. I just really want to promote his work. I mean, I send him a check every month. I just really love supporting his art and his work. Delay. We have this. Mr. Fiesta asked, please tell the blindfold bass, please. Well, thank you for saying please twice. I appreciate that. He uses several delays and possibly a ring mod to do that. It is a work in progress to find out exactly how Matei did their blindfold bass. However, a video released by Antrix here uses a somewhat similar technique that I also feel like might be helpful to finding out exactly how this is done. Colin FX says, just found out about this. Sick tutorial and cover. Thanks, Colin. Appreciate you. Dude, Colin FX, like, their work on the MK1 is ridiculous. Like, way, way ahead of their time, for sure. Sometimes with loop artists that were on the MK1, you could just look and listen to what they're making on the MK1 and just know this person, like, their brain is designed for the MK2, and they're trying to do MK2 stuff on the MK1 before the MK2 was even out. Like, so talented. Colin FX is definitely one of those people. Dio76 says, have you heard Feeling Good by Freedon? I had not at that point, but because of your comment, I actually checked out that song. I love Freedon's work. I can't believe I missed Feeling Good. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. In fact, I learned the entire track. And it was a lot of fun. I changed up the second drop to be a lot more different than the first drop because I felt like I could do a little bit more since I didn't have a time restraint that Freedon had. Feeling Good is a pretty dope song. Reconsider It asks on my Back to the Underground video, they wanted a tutorial on the different effects that I used at the very end of the track here. For me, what I do on the MK1, because it's an MK2 track that I'm doing on the MK1, So there's things I have to do to like work around it. But basically what I'm doing is filter followed by a phaser followed by a flanger. And all of them have different rates because the phaser and flanger are similar-ish effects. So I set different rates so then they sound distinctive when they're quickly traveled by. But the reason I did that was because I wanted to move to a slicer anyways, which is at the end. While on my way there, I just stopped and had a couple of effects play. And I did this as a workaround for the MK2 because MK2 has effects banks. You can just push a button or two buttons and it will change to a brand new bank with a whole bunch of different effects. MK1 you can't do that with, so I had to come up with a workaround for that. Nomek asks, how are you doing all these covers? I don't understand. It's crazy. Yeah, it is pretty crazy, and I don't fully understand it myself either. Through just practice of being in music for many, many years and having this loop station for a while, I've just able to train my ear to be able to hear individual sounds and individual effects. And it's just practice. It is all it is just being on this device and learning and practicing. And you're able to really hear different things that are used. Next is Jaxmia. They posted two things. One is a video idea about my favorite combinations of effects. To respond to the first part, I will say that some of my favorite effects are I like using vocoder and reverb together. Dynamics and EQ plus reverb makes your sound amazing. The robot EQ and reverb also is a really fun effect combination. Some of my favorite standalone effects, though, are the phaser, the EQ, the reverb, vocal distortion, panning delay, and vocoder. You can do a lot with those effects just by themselves. If you want a really cool, just quick trick, try using a phaser with an EQ and a granular delay. Set your granular delay to have some feedback as well as a note that you want to do, and then do rim shots into the microphone. Just try that. See what happens. MH says, loved watching the tutorials. Gives me the old MK1 vibes. Sweet, dude. Yeah, MH, holy crap. Pioneer in the, not only the MK1, but the MK2. Like, literal pioneer in the MK2. Like, holy crap. Thank you so much for your comment. This user asked basically about the bouncing trick for the MK1 and hearing feedback. I also had the same thing happen when I was practicing and trying to figure out the bouncing. The way I fixed it for me was I turned the output volume knob all the way down. So I couldn't hear what's going on. Like auditorily, I couldn't hear what was going on, but the loop station was still processing it and like recording it. And watch this tutorial here if you need help with learning how to bounce a track. Mr. Fiesta asked about the Psytrance slicer. They are referring to this moment right here. So to do that, all you need is have your voice just going, ah, and you have a slicer on at whatever pattern that you want to have. You have it at a rate of whatever you want to have. I recommend do time-based measurements. Have it on an eighth note or a quarter note or a triplet, whatever. And you have the value knob at the ready and in the slicer menu on the rate. And then you change the rate as you do it. This user asks, I like all your video. Can you do a tutorial on how we can make an auto-tune voice? Yeah, different methods for MK1 and MK2. Talk about MK1 first. MK1, you can use a robot and manually change it for the auto-tune. Another method is by putting on a sequence of whatever it is that you want and then having a vocoder on, and then you can have it tuned that way. option is to have another pedal or an external device. I know that Brez often uses an auto-tune pedal when he was using his MK1. And for MK2 users, you have somewhat of an auto-tune built in. What I found to be the best auto-tune is if you have the effects electric and auto harmony on. Add some reverb and some EQ onto it, and you got yourself a decent auto-tune.
Why don't you show me what you're made of? I can't imagine what you're thinking now. What are you so afraid of? Are you scared of trying to figure me?
Chris Barton also asks, maybe do a workflow video. Preset settings for input and track effects. It is how to write sheet music for your loop station. It's in the same video that the Move With It tutorial is in. You can check out that video. That definitely talks about workflow and how to really manage your loops and what you're doing live. Mr. Pump made a comment saying, hey, thanks for fixing the audio issue. You're welcome. Thank you for telling me. They also asked in the same comment if I can make a basic beatbox setup video as well as effects order management. To answer the first part of that, you can check out this tutorial here. And to answer the second question, you can watch this video. AV Music asks, could you make some tutorials on making chords with some effects? Yeah, chords are interesting. There's a lot of different ways to make chords. One way is to do it just vocally, just by looping your voice and creating harmony that way. Another way is you can put two different delays on the effects. So for your input effect B, you have a regular delay or a panning delay. And then on your input effects C, you have a granular delay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to make a delay note. And if you want to learn how to do delay notes, you can check out any of these tutorials here. Once you make your delay note, you want to make sure that you turn off input effects C, or really any effect that is below your highest delay note. Otherwise, that delay note will feed into the lower effects and it'll just keep amplifying it and it'll become overwhelming. Make your note that way, and then you can create this chord that way as well. Says, hey, nice cover. Completely forgot about that routine. Yeah, so the 1 minute routine that I did for the beat shift tutorial, that was originally made by this lovely human being here. They did it for a Brez contest where Brez had challenged people to make 1 minute long songs. That was your limit. You made a song in under a minute. And yeah, it was one of my favorites from that contest. And I thought it was a perfect way to demo the beat shift because of the way that Sedenio actually structured the bass in there was really smart, and I wanted to kind of highlight that idea. This user also asks, assigns, really need. Yeah, I hear you. I made a tutorial on everything about assigns right here. You can check it out. It's a pretty inclusive guide on assigns. It's Wolfie asked about the A, B, and C, input and track effect buttons aren't working anymore. If you have an MK2 that is under warranty, call up Roland or send them an email and do a warranty request for them to fix it. They have authorized dealers and repair shops around America, at least that I know of. If you wanted to do it yourself, or you have an MK1 that the warranty is no longer good for, this will void your warranty, but you could open up the device and you can clean the actual touch points that the buttons get pressed down. Sometimes a debris will get into the cracks around the edge there and it'll mess with the buttons. So that could be something that might be able to fix your buttons or make them a little cleaner. Frosty says, good to see something informative other than complete track tutorials. I hope people can learn from this. Yeah, I hope people can learn from this too. I remember when I first started out, I was trying to find every tutorial on YouTube to really learn this machine. I was just fascinated by this device, and so I'm trying to make tutorials that I wish I had when I first started out, just to really understand how this device works. And I'm really glad that you watching this video right now can enjoy and appreciate these videos as well. I hope they're at least fun to watch. Subtronics says, Happy New Year and thanks for all these tutorials. It's helping me get back into looping. I've learned a lot from you and subscribed. Heck yeah, thanks, Sub. Yeah, this person has been in the beatboxing community for quite a while, so definitely check out their work as well. I'm Neon Fire asks a couple questions. When is your video on the filter? So it is in the works, and it will be posted at some point. Where this video that you're watching right now fits on the schedule, the filter video might come out before then or after then. I'm not sure, but I am making one. And yes, you are right. It is the effect that you can do the most with, and it is wild. That's why I personally have been taking a while to make it, because I'm like, there's so many ideas. What do I do? Do I share? What ideas to like is just too much? Oh my god, the video will be like several hours long. It was really hard to write the script for this, but it is in the works, so hopefully it'll be out by the time you're watching this. They also asked about mimicking the oscillator bot. So yeah, there's actually a few ways to do that, and I have demonstrated quite a few of them in a few tutorials. Granular delay is one way to do it. Vocoder is another way to do it. You have a P13 slicer is another way to do it, as you alluded to in the comment that you left. That yeah, you can set it up beforehand and then you can use a vocoder. A way I can tell you right now that I don't think I mentioned in any tutorial is using a vocal distortion and just being clever on how you like actually input it. So a lot of loopers will just go like into the microphone with a vocal distortion on and some reverb, and they will just overdub instead of record. CR asks another question. How? They were referring to how did I make MK2 sounds on the MK1. I actually have a tutorial on how I do that coming out. It is going to be one of my last tutorials that are released. It is this video right here. It is how to make any song on the loop station. So very, very powerful tutorial. I debated on whether or not to give it away for free, but I decided, screw it. It'll just be part of the listing of videos that I post. So it'll be in that tutorial when it comes out. Elklo asks, will you do tutorials for the MK2 too? MK2? What's that? Yeah, I do. Not a lot. I do not own an MK2 as of today, but I may have a fan of mine get me one. So I might have one in the future. We'll see. But I already have some MK2 tutorial scripts already written up. So the intention is there. Like, I do want to make some MK2 tutorials, just not as many as I did for the MK1. However, I constructed my tutorials to be for both the MK1 and the MK2. So you can utilize a lot of the same ideas on the MK2, even though in my tutorials I'm using an MK1. So try out some of the tricks that you see in the videos, and you will be surprised on what you can do on the MK2 as well. Yasweed said, clickbaited, I wasn't even in this video. No, you weren't in this video. Why would you be? I'm not cool enough to have Yasweed in a video. Like, what? By the way, if you are not familiar with Yasweed's work, go subscribe to them and follow their work. They are coming out with some awesome, amazing tracks that aren't even released to the public yet, but they are mind-numbing. So, go follow Yasweed. He's amazing. That is it. That is the Q&A video all done. Oh, I forgot one thing. A lot of you have asked this question or have commented about my custom loop station. How the heck did I do that? Well, I've already talked about painting, but the sticker, what I did is I used Adobe Illustrator and I made a template. What this template does is it allows me to insert any picture that I want and type anything that I need to in all of the typeable places. I just fixed it up so that the design made sense. I painstakingly measured out every single button placement and knob placement, and I put those exact dimensions into this document. So now all of these holes that you see are actually holes in the document, because when this saves, it saves as a vector and it saves as a PNG, and those will not exist. From there, what I did was I took it to a sticker or a decal making company, and I had them make a decal that turned this into a sticker. Once I had it in sticker form, I just removed it from that and very, very carefully, because you want to be careful not to stretch the sticker, put it onto the loop station. Just make sure that your loop station is very, very clean when you put it down. Don't use isopropyl alcohol on your loop station. It will damage it. Just clean it by following this tutorial here. Just place that sticker down and just be very slow and methodical about how you do it. So if you would like a sticker for your MK1, I guess you could hit me up and I could try to make you one on whatever design that you want. It's, even though it is a template and I can make any sticker or design on it, I still had to actually design the sticker itself. So I had to like construct Ibuki in a specific way, and that little pixel art, I had to make that pixel art, and I had to figure out the fonts and the typefaces that I wanted to use. And yeah, with that said, I still have this awesome template that I could use to make you a loop station sticker if you wanted one. I also want to make a sticker for my new MK2 that I do not own yet. So when I do that, I will have a template for my MK2 as well. A couple other bonus things. I also made this if you wanted this asset. It's an MK1, but in vector art. I've used that on this guy over here, and I've put it on t-shirts and stuff. Some other assets that I made is all of my charts, all the Playgue charts that I made that are cycling through on the screen right now. You can use all of these charts for your looping needs. Check out the tutorials that each one of these charts are in if you want to learn how to read them and how to use them in detail, but they should all be helpful to you. And that is it. That is all I can think of for being able to be as helpful as I can in answering questions. Thank you for leaving the comments and asking questions, and yeah, just being a fucking badass audience. Like, you all rock. The comments that I get, amazing. Keep the comments coming. I try to respond to every comment that I can, so even though I've made this Q&A video, it doesn't mean I'm going to stop answering questions. But that's pretty much it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk and my Q&A. That is it. I'll see you in the next video.